everyone, Evan Kirstel here, have an amazing discussion on this Friday with Dan, the CEO of XRAI Glass, a company that's breaking new ground in terms of augmented reality, creating subtitles for life, turning speech into subtitles in real time with AI. So many interesting use cases and opportunities here. Dan, how are you?
I'm very well indeed. Thank you so much for having me on. It's an
Well,
honor.
thanks for making the time. And I think this is such an interesting and important conversation to have. So before we dive in, maybe introduce yourself, a little bit about your biography, and how did you start XRAI as a company?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been in technology pretty much my whole career. I spent 18 years building a Microsoft partner. So we work with some of the largest companies in the world to help them move up to the cloud. That company was acquired. I was at a loose end. There's a personal angle to this story. So my granddad, who was 96 at the time, like many 96-year-olds, has lost almost all of his hearing. I live in Canada now. As you can probably tell, there's snow behind me, so I don't get to see him as much as I used to. Back in the UK, the Christmas before last, watching him struggling around his family, unable to engage in the conversation, and I'm not quite sure when epiphany struck me, but I thought, well, we can, bring together these live captions and augmented reality glasses. One of the other founders, Paul Mealy, had exactly the same idea at exactly the same time, and by some fluke of this new world, we found each other, and then we brought together a group. My business partner, Mitchell Feldman, who was also a fellow competitor in a previous life, and said, well, why don't we just create this thing? Nobody else has created this thing before. It seems to make a ton of sense. So let's just try it and see if it works. So that's what we
wonderful, wonderful story. Well, let's play a quick video for the viewers to give them some context and understanding of what we're actually talking about. I love this YouTube video on your site, so let's watch along.
We are living in a world that's more connected than ever. But for many people who are deaf or hard of hearing, it hasn't always felt that way. Even with assistive devices, everyday life can still be challenging for those with varying levels of hearing loss. So when we launched XRAI Glass, an AR software that uses smart glasses to translate audio into subtitles in real time, we knew it would be so much more than just revolutionary tech. Introducing Subtitled. Rather than solely showcasing impressive technical features, we positioned XRAI Glass as a lifestyle brand that genuinely augments lives for the better. We established a team of brand ambassadors from different walks of life who were deaf or hard of hearing and invited them to experience XRAI Glass for the first time.
Oh my days, it's literally right in front of me. That's amazing.
Everything I'm saying, yeah, that is crazy.
Oh my...
Why am I crying?
Real reactions with a real response. Over 6,500 pieces of media coverage.
That is absolute genius.
And it wasn't just those who were deaf or hard of hearing that saw the benefits of XRAI Glass.
This is awesome.
Resulting in 820 million in combined reach. We saw a 1,000% increase in online searches. Then, the glasses sold out on Amazon. And our software was noticed. We showed how tech can be human by giving people more access to the world they deserve to be a part of. One where we're all connected. Life, subtitled.
Wow, it gives me chills. I watched this for the third time now, and every time it's just so breathtaking. How did the technology and the opportunity and the people, the team, how did this all come together? Like, what was your aha moment as far as XRAI Glasses?
Well, as I mentioned, it was my granddad that was actually the personal inspiration behind this, and his inability to be able to engage in conversation. And this was back the Christmas before last. These augmented reality glasses at the time were just coming out. So we can talk a bit more about that later, but we partnered with Nreal, who had just released their Air glasses. We kind of fused that with real-time transcription, the same as we've got in Teams and Zoom and so forth. And effectively then created a product around it. And the driver for me personally, I know for Mitch and a number of the other founders, is how can we actually use tech to do something for good here? I spent 20 years convincing enterprises to move their servers to the cloud, which is all very interesting, but not quite particularly noble. And we thought we've got an opportunity here to take some of this incredible new technology and put it to good.
Describe the first time your granddad used the tech, and some of the other folks with hearing challenges use the technology. I mean, that must have been just a time to remember.
It's honestly the most fulfilling part of this job is, being with people as they use this for the first time. And you just saw, 3 people in the video, but I mean, there are dozens and dozens, hundreds now that, you get that same reaction from. This is truly life-changing technology. My granddad has, able to listen to radio for the first time in 5 years. Simple pleasures that we all enjoy, that many people don't. We have users that can now go to the cafe with their husbands and have conversations with them that they've never been able to do, have conversations over the telephone that they've never been able to do before. It's truly life-changing. And what's particularly interesting is, the number of people that we keep discovering that we can help with this technology. The kernel of this, the idea originally was around the deaf and hard of hearing. How can we provide that augmented reading experience? But actually, now that we've fused this together with GPT, and we're kind of delighted that everybody else has finally discovered GPT, we've been working with it since last summer, we can now bring a level of intelligence to this transcription and actually take it beyond just the deaf and hard of hearing to actually start to be able to understand what is going on around. And, that's then interesting to a range of different conditions, ADHD, APD, dyslexia, people who struggle to understand information. And the other, of course, kind of interesting dimension that came from this was translation. So once we're transcribing in 11 different languages, it's not particularly difficult to then translate between all those 11 different languages as well. So now all of a sudden anybody who travels to a foreign country and doesn't understand the native dialect is now all of a sudden a customer of this. So this is something truly that anybody might be able to use and anybody might be able to gain huge value from, but certainly the deaf and neurodiverse we think can gain the most in the short term.
Wonderful. Now we're geeks at heart, you and I, and what had to come together in terms of hardware, software, silicon? You mentioned, GPT, sensors, microphones. I mean, there's a lot of technology here bundled together. It sounds like it was, the time was right, but also you brought it together in an innovative way. So you consider yourself a software company, an application company, an AI company. Like, tell us about the team.
I guess all of the above, but the one thing we do not consider ourselves to be is a hardware company. So, XRAI Glass is the addition of XRAI that runs on smart glasses today and other forms of glass in the future. But we chose to partner with, as I said initially, NReal. So, these are the NReal Air glasses. So these were released last year, and
looking good.
So the innovation that NReal did was to take all of the processing and all of the battery and effectively anything heavy out of the glasses, so they're now feather light. And then what you have now is a wire that connects that to the computer that you carry around in your pocket, otherwise known as your phone, and effectively takes advantage of Qualcomm chipsets in those phones to then create that, augmented reality experience. So this is not just basic screencast. This is full 3 degrees of freedom, spatial anchors, the whole 9 yards. So this was, a key component, because until these class of glasses came out, this was just not a viable solution. You can't walk around for hours on end with, a HoloLens on your head or, magically. That's just not suitable. But these are. So this was a critical component of it. Getting access to the the quality of transcription that our users demand was kind of the next challenge. We did investigate, on-device transcription, and there are some very decent on-device transcription models available, but we got the very best results when we used the cloud. So, the next kind of big technical challenge is, how do you take a real-time audio feed that you're capturing on these glasses or on the phone? How do you get it up to the cloud and back, all in less than 1 second, identifying at the same time who the speaker is and all kinds of crazy stuff. So that was, a huge technical engineering challenge just to kind of get that to work. But along with being agnostic to the glasses, we are also agnostic to the transcription providers. So, our plan is to work with a range of different providers. So, whatever language people speak, they can work with the transcription provider that works best for them. We're also, of course, planning on expanding out to additional glasses. So the N-Reals were the ones I just showed you. These are the TCLs. And the thing that's interesting about these TCLs is they have a removable shade. Now they are then mirrored rather than shaded, but it's not perhaps quite as offensive as wearing sunglasses inside, and they certainly don't dim out as much of the light. So these are coming out in the next few weeks. These are the TCL NextWear S. But we're also going to have support for, again, a whole range of different glasses, and we're very much that integration, that software layer between the glasses and all of these cloud-based AI systems.
Brilliant. So you're addressing an immediate need, hard of hearing and the deaf community, but there's so many other opportunities, it seems, as well. Talk about those and what you're discovering as you roll out. You mentioned translation, obviously, lots of, enterprise use cases, educational use cases. What are you seeing kind of in your, rollout to customers?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge amounts of interest from all the different features that we've got. So again, we've got this kind of 3 key features. We've got the transcription feature, we've got the translation feature, and we've got the personal assistant. So on the translation feature, that's something that there's a huge amounts of interest from people traveling and people wanting to learn new languages and being able to even experiment teaching themselves how to use a new language by being able to translate to themselves. So that's a huge market, we think, in translation in general. But the real super interesting thing here is the this personal assistant. So this integration with GPT, and that is what's really going to start to open up so many interesting avenues here, because we can again start to ingest intelligence into these conversations. An ability to be able to say, well, hey X-Ray, could you summarize this conversation for me, please? Or hey X-Ray, what was the name of the town that we were just speaking about? Or hey X-Ray, what's the answer to the pub quiz that you just heard? Not that we'd ever condone cheating in pub quizzes, of course, but this conversational, contextual awareness we think is going to be super interesting. And again, that's when this starts to balloon into something that anybody might be able to use. You can imagine dates subtitled. What's the next best good chat up line, I should say. We're starting to venture into augmented assistive communications devices. So now imagine a class of individual who are not able to speak properly. How about a GPT powered assistant that would allow them to make suggestions on things that they might want to say, or auto suggest based on perhaps keywords that they've typed in. This is one of the huge numbers of potential beneficiaries of this technology, and we're only really just sort of starting to discover all of the different ways that this can be helpful. Education in particular, you mentioned, and again, this is a particular area of interest to me. Imagine when you're able to just sit and have a conversation with X. Hey X-Ray, tell me about late medieval Gildery in the UK, and then again suggesting things. Well, you might want to ask about this. You might want to ask about this. Imagine being able to sit for hours on end. This voyage of discovery. Being able to talk to the smartest person in the entire world about anything you like and ask them any question you like. That's something that we think is super impactful.
Absolutely, and just to folks who are aware, this is not a science project or a beta, or you're actually selling product today. Tell us about what's involved as a potential user or an organization, maybe a healthcare organization. How do they deploy and procure this?
So if you click, in fact, on AR Glasses on the page that you were just on, then you'll see a link. So it's super easy to get this. You just click on AR Glasses in the menu at the top, and then you scroll down, and you'll then see at the moment these are the N-Real Airs. So these are the ones with are available in market as of right now. And you can literally just see there, you've got the 2 different places you can buy them. So in the US and Canada, and in fact, the whole of the rest of the world, you just click on that buy now. That will take you to Amazon and you just buy the Nreal Air glasses. And then you'll see a link there to download the app and try it out. You can actually use the app without the glasses. So anybody that has an Android 12 phone can just download the app and try this, and you kind of get a simulation of what this would look like in augmented reality. But again, if you want the real full experience, you just go ahead to Amazon, buy the glasses. There's a few different accessories that we recommend as well. So you'll see in there the Razer Seren microphones. So they are super low latency microphones, and I think I have one here that I can show you. So these are lapel microphones that have got super advanced noise cancellation built into them. They've also got a 3.5mm jack that you can see here, so you can plug this into a TV, or if you're in a lecture theatre, or anywhere where you've got access to a headphone jack, you can connect this, and then you can get beautiful high quality sound directly into the application. But yes, available now. Anybody anywhere in the world, if you can get hold of a set of glasses, then you're in.
So you must have an incredible roadmap given the pace of technology, hardware, software that's happening. How do you get your hands around that, deciding what to do, where to focus, what platforms to choose? I'm sure there's a lot I know you can't talk about because you shared some of that with me. But how do you manage the direction and feature functionality and everything you add to the solution?
I mean, one of the biggest challenges right now is this is all so new. This is like, I said to somebody earlier, this is like the gold rush. And we've got there, and there's a post office, and maybe there's a store, and there's a couple of roads, and that's it. So we're all going on this voyage of discovery together on all of the amazing things that we can really put together. But as I hinted earlier, there's going to be lots more glasses which are coming out. We demonstrated at Mobile World Congress the XRAI glass working on what's known as the Qualcomm reference design, which is their new wireless viewer. So that's something that we are super interested in. And in fact, I don't know whether I can actually, I won't show it, it'll probably go wrong, but there is a picture that you can see of that one. So that's an area that we're super interested in, is all these different new form factors for glasses. The other thing that we are of course super interested in, all these extra features that we can start to add. Offline transcription, as I mentioned, is one that is very close for us. It's not going to be as good as the cloud-based transcription, but we think it's going to be potentially nearly as good. So that's something that we're excited to launch. Of course, there's a whole separate ecosystem of mobile phones out there that we've not mentioned yet, of course. Now, Apple are on their own journey to augmented reality.
I wonder how many times a day people ask you about Apple glasses.
Well, as I think I joked to you last time, if I had $1 for every person that asked me about iPhones, then we'd be fully funded as a business already. It's just, unfortunately, these particular generation of glasses, these tethered glasses, USB-C, Qualcomm chips, it just doesn't work with Apple, unfortunately. But we are hoping to get an app-only experience that will work on Apple, and then there are, various dongles and adapters that you can get to get the glasses to function in some form. So, that's something that we're hoping to have available within the next couple of next 6 to 8 weeks, potentially, something like that. So, there's some interesting features. We're also doing, again, a lot of work around this GPT. That's where we're really adding some huge value here. So, how can we start to go back over previous conversations? Because at the moment it's in the context of a current conversation, but you can imagine that across previous.
Just serendipity. I mean, just all these things coming together. It's you couldn't have planned it better. And you also, I noticed, take a strong stance on privacy and security and data protection, data privacy. Tell us more about your philosophy there, given the intimate nature of these devices.
Yep, I mean, it's something that all of the team are very passionate about. We want to build this new, and I hate to use the cheesy word, Web3, but this new way that we deal with data in this new world, and it's going to be our key differentiation against some of the household names that may well come and start playing in our sandpit at some point. We are obsessed over the fact that users own this data. data. They are the controller of this data. They are responsible for getting consent. With great power comes great responsibility, but it's always ever owned by them. We have deliberately engineered ourselves out of the situation. So, even if we wanted to access this data, it is feasible to do that. And that is one of the foundations that our business is built on. And again, I think there's going to need to be a general change in the market. People need to start to understand. Well, I think people already understand that if the product's free, they're the product. But they then need to perhaps go one step further and understand. Well, that means that actually you're going to have to pay for this software. If you don't want to, start having adverts pop up for stuff that you're talking about in private.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Then, we'll make some money somehow.
Brilliant. So what do you have a lot going on, to say the least. What are you excited about over the next weeks, months? Are there any events, any travel or other plans, or you just have your heads down and shipping product and supporting customers?
Well, one of the areas that's most interesting for us, certainly right now, is the enterprise space. So again, this was launched as a consumer product originally. The launch was to consumers, but the phone started ringing from lots and lots of really interesting, incredibly well-known large companies saying that this is fantastic. Why can't we get this for our staff? So we've been talking to a number of them, and that's something that, again, we're super excited about, is how can we get this into the workplace? How can we start to turn this from, as my business partner likes to say, from subscription to prescription? How can we start to get into a world where this is something that is either government funded or insurance funded? That's something that we're super excited about, because again, this is just taking it to as many people as we possibly can. So any means that we've got to do that. We've been shortlisted for a few awards, or quite a few awards, in fact. So 7 as of this week. 7 and 9, I think. Honestly, which is always a good sign, I guess. But 4 individually from the UK National Technology Awards. So we're super looking forward to that night. And again, that's just the I guess slightly humbling experience, really. Getting nominated for all of those awards, but it's great because it means that people are taking notice, and we're genuinely making a difference in the world, and hopefully more and more people will start to discover this. We're live on BBC One in the UK, 9:15, either next Tuesday or Thursday, which is again like a have to pinch yourself moment. Like, really, on BBC One, 9:15 in the morning. Crazy.
Brilliant. Well, I'd encourage everyone watching to, get involved, support, Dan and the team and their content. And, for folks who aren't hearing impaired, we all know someone, family members, friends, colleagues, coworkers. I mean, we all know someone with challenges, and what a amazing solution. Let's show them this has the success it deserves. And thanks so much, Dan, for joining. Really appreciate your insight and sharing your journey, and onwards and upwards.
And we can't refer to it as a hearing impairment, of course. Right. Ironically, the idea with XRAI is to turn those with hearing loss into, giving them superpowers.
I love it. It's such a great mission and story, and I'll be watching. Thanks so much. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.